I'm glad you're here, and I trust you can hear me. Let me find the question and read it so that we know what we're talking. We're answering this question that is most important today. We're getting to that question. Subscriptions. And I'm using my phone to record. Normally I know exactly where it is on my phone. I don't know how to find it on my iPad, but I'm getting there. Go here like that. And subscriptions. And it's going to be alive, isn't it? I do believe it's that one. And here's the question. The question is, you touched on something in your video that raised a question for me. There are two things that happen when a person has a strong desire. There are instances in which when a person has a strong desire, the opposite of what they desire is unfolded before them. And then there are the instances when a desire is manifest before you as an actual thing that will sate that desire. What is the ingredient that manifests rather than reverses the manifestation of the desire? What is the ingredient that manifests rather than reverses the manifestation of the desire? That is the question. The ingredient is you. Let's start at the end and now put the pieces together. Yes? I'm going in here like that so I can be in the chat. Okay. You have a desire. Then you have a desire. Something happens in your body. The way you feel about the desire. So if I say dog, right? If you were chased home like I was by a pit bull, you're a little bit apprehensive. Your body's like, eek! So whatever that desire is that you have, house, spouse, money, job, car, doesn't matter. The minute you think of it and you hold an image of it, there's a sensation that corresponds in your body. So that is the ingredient. How so? The thought, yes, is exactly what it is. The desire is the thought. And how you feel about it is part two. That's the second step. That is where we get hung up, in that space right there, from desire to manifestation. You see, because we think, I'm going to say this to you. The feeling in your body is actually how you feel about the desire. How you feel about the desire is what you recreate regarding the desire. How you feel about the desire is what you recreate about that desire. So if you say, I want a brand new car, and you're like, well, I don't make enough money. I don't qualify for a loan. That's not possible. You talk yourself out of it because your body feels tense. Shoulders are up, the chest is tight. You just feel like, oh, well, But then if you say, I'm just going to go to the grocery store and get myself some coffee, go to Starbucks and get some coffee, and you get there and somebody buys your coffee, you're like, oh, for me, I manifested a coffee? I manifested a parking spot? Of course. How do you feel about the coffee and the parking spot? You feel like they're a piece of cake. It's not a problem. That's what you feel like when you think about those things. Oh, really? I'm going to get a parking spot? Please. That's how you feel about it. And so the way you feel about it is what you are recreating. So how do you know what you feel about the desire that you have? You feel either at ease and relaxed about it, or you're tense and you're worried and you're like, how is that going to happen? How many moving parts need to come together for me to accomplish this thing? That is where we get caught up. How many moving parts are required for me to have that desire fulfilled? that is where we get hung up. Because we put more weight on the house, the spouse, the car, the job. We put more weight on those things as opposed to, oh, look, a parking spot. Oh, look, a free coffee, a free pizza. Oh, I got in when they had no cancellations. Wow. We put more weight on those things, house, spouse, car, job, because we cannot see the moving parts to make it happen. So when you think of the desire, your body will correspond with a sensation, and that sensation will tell you if what you see here is corresponding with your body. Because the body remembers, right? So if you spent your whole life saying, man, it's only who you know. You gotta be famous. You gotta have a trust fund. You gotta be this. You gotta be that. But then you hear Neville Goddard say, you could be born behind the 8 ball. It doesn't matter. And you say, really? The rest of the world does it like this, and you're gonna tell me if I'm born behind the 8 ball, whatever that case is? Really? So then you hear what he says, but your body tells you what you believe about what he said. So when you hold the image of what it is that you want in your life, what you want to experience, you have the image and your body says, yeah, we can do that. Or your body says, Heifer, please, that's not possible. You heard what your grandmother said. You heard what your mother said. You heard what your father said. That's not possible because nobody's ever done it before. And so then what happens? You get the opposite, meaning you don't get what you want. Let us clarify what that means to get the opposite. You cannot get the opposite. The law of correspondence tells us, as within a thing, so without. As within, so without. I'm going to hold on a second. As within, so without. So you cannot have the opposite. What is within you? How do you know what's within you? Because when you think about it, your body will correspond. Your body will correspond. I didn't want to touch the screen, so I had to tip it for a second. Just to see if you're paying attention. But do you understand what I'm saying to you? This is why some things manifest faster than others. If you are sitting there and you're saying to yourself, why is this taking so long? Shouldn't this be easier? Why can't I ever get what I want? Why does this always happen to me? Your body is telling you, because look at how the body feels. It feels a sense of dread, a sense of worry, a sense of stress. You're tense. You get that? So however you feel in your body about the thing you are thinking about, your body is showing you what's here. Thoughts are invisible. The body is visible. So as within, it has to be that way on the outside so you know what's in it. That is the law of correspondence. Okay? I'm looking at my notes because I took notes. So anytime you say things like, I must, I need, I gotta have this, or else I can't, your body is clearly saying to you, oh, you have this desire, but you can't get the desire. Not because someone or something or the universe is withholding you from it. It is that your body is saying one thing and you are thinking something else. What do they call it? Heart, brain coherence. You can't see me pointing at my heart, but I'm pointing at my heart. Heart, brain coherence is what they call it. Which is what? Your thought has to align with the sensation in your body. Without the presence or the awareness of that sensation, you don't know what you believe. Without the sensation in your body, you do not know what it is that you believe. You can say it all day long. This is why you can say affirmations brainlessly all day long. But every time you say the affirmation, your body becomes more tense. And what happens? People People say all the time, oh my God, things got worse. As soon as I knew the law, things got worse. That's what they tell you. No, as soon as you learn the law, you begin to feel the difference. The work now is to tell your body what you want it to feel. So I'm going to say this statement because I'm itching to, because I'm telling you why you get the opposite. You can't, as within, so without. But how do you break free of that? Let me read it because I wrote it down. Recognize that the desire is showing you what you want to create. Recognize that the desire is showing you what you want to create, not what you have to wait to receive. I'm going to say it again. Recognize that your desire is showing you what you want to create and not what you are waiting to receive. Those aren't the same things, because we get it in our heads. I have a desire, and if I line up with it, it'll be given to me. You creating that image in your mind, you're creating it. What are you creating? You're creating all of the moving parts that bring you to it or bring it to you. That's what you're doing. That's why you can't see how the moving parts come together, because you are on the inside of it. You are the core of those moving parts. That's what you're doing. Is this making sense? Let me pop into the chat because I saw some things go up, but I didn't want to lose my train of thought, because this is a question that we keep getting all the time. Hello, Ruby. Melissa, hello, sweet darling. I just saw what Cyber says, my mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. You're like, right? It's like, you're so bad, but you're awesome, because that is really what's happening. You have this desire, like I say, new house, new spouse, new car, new job, more money in the bank. Isn't that a rap? I can rap now, can't I? Hey, I digress. But you say that's what you want. You don't want that. That's what you want to create. That's what you want to create. Because when you say you want that, you are sitting there waiting for somebody to give it to you. Huh? Why didn't I get what I want? Hear what you said. Why didn't I get what I wanted? Because you're waiting for somebody to give it to you. As a sovereign being, you hold the image in your mind and you get out the law of polarity. The law of polarity is saying, where are you now? Where do you want to be? Okay, so I want this thing, so I have to create this thing. What steps am I going to do in between, from, to? And you know what Neville Goddard calls that? The bridge of incidents. All of these moving parts come together to take shape of the thing you are creating. You're not waiting for somebody to give it to you. Listen, I'm all the way in the back, so I'm saying it for me to hear. Right? That's what we end up doing. We think our desires are things that we want. And if we're good boys and girls, somebody will give it to us. In actuality, as a sovereign being, what happens to you when you are clear with what it is that you want? Now you have an image to do what with? Recreate, not wait upon. That's what you're doing when you have the image. So most people have a vision board, right? So they have all these things on the vision board. If you have those things on the vision board, that's the law of polarity. You have to see what's there on the vision board. And then you decide, all right, what steps am I going to take? Because when you decide, those are the things I want, that I'm creating, that I want to create, I am taking steps every single day. I am doing actions that get me there. And something magical happens. It will feel like serendipitous. It will feel like a coincidence that you just happen to be at the right place at the right time. Oh my God, I heard ... You should call this person. And then you say, oh my, that was so easy. Like that fell into my lap. It didn't fall into your lap. You decided what it was. First of all, you got clear about what it was you wanted to create. This is what we're going to... It is my suggestion. In Exodus, it is my suggestion that we use this phrase instead of. Instead of I want, remind yourself, I want to create. So instead of I want, perhaps we should say, or we get to say, I want to create. So if you want to create something, you've got to build the foundation first. And how do you start a foundation? First of all, you got to know what it is you want. Step one. What do you want to create? Step one. What do you want to create? Step two. What is your body saying? What is your body saying about step one? Right? What is your body saying about step one? We got this in the bag. Or, please, that doesn't work. Do you know how much money you have to have for that? Right? So when you figure out if you are in concert with the desire, meaning they correspond, they match, thought matches the desire in the body and how it feels, and how it feels. If those two things do not match, your work is to find out, where's that block? Where's that thing? Why do I not believe that? Oh, that's right, because I heard that money don't grow on trees. Money don't grow on trees. I don't know nobody to leave me no money. I don't have no trust fund, right? So your work is to get your mind and your body in correspondence, in accordance. So this is where now you have to start telling your body all the things you know for fact. All the things that you know for fact. They are there. It's not hit today and miss tomorrow. They're fact. So if you say, you know what? I know that I have all of these skills. People tell me all these skills all the time. I'm really good at putting things together. I'm really good at bringing in money from nowhere. But that's true. And your body will confirm and say, yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter where we go. People are always giving us money. We finding it. We winning it. Hey, we got great clients. That is fact because you've experienced it. So you tell yourself the facts. Start with the facts. And now you start to inject in there your desire. Well, I do want to create a house. And your body says, yeah, but we don't have that kind of money. Then you respond and you say with a fact, we might not have it now, but if I make a plan to put all my skills together, we can have that money in no time at all because I'm just that good at bringing the money in. Is that not fact? Now you notice your body saying, sounds like a plan. Let's give that a shot. Next thing you know, somebody calls you and says, hey, you know what? I need this done. Can you help me? What's your fee? You name your fee. They don't even clutch their pearls. They're like, oh, good. And you know what? I got a friend who needs the same thing. Let me connect you to all of a sudden, because it looks like it's all of a sudden, because serendipity and coincidence, right? Looks like all of a sudden, you got the money. And you say, oh, snap. Well, you know what? I'm on a roll. Let me start to, you get an idea. Let me start to make this money work harder for me so that I can have more fun doing what I like to do so that I don't have to work so hard. Let me find some good investments, David. Let me find some good investments. And you start going through your investment app and you're like, oh, this one is low risk, but I'm in this. I'm good. I'm on a roll. And you start to choose your investments wisely where you gain from your dividends. You put it in your TFSA so you don't have to pay tax on it. You see, now all of a sudden you went from, I want a new house, and your body's like, heifer, please. You can't get around. Yeah, have you seen the market for a single family home? $800,000. How are you going to pull that off? You see what you did? You told your body what you wanted it to do, which means you said to your body, look, I'm good at these things. I can do these things. Look, because you can't lie to yourself. All your work consists of is getting your mind and body in accordance. Let me read. I can see these things that are scrolling up here. Oh, is that that's an R. Kelly song? My mind is telling me no, but my body is telling me yes. Is that when you put that into context? My pearls. Mercedes, hello. Hi, Marjorie. Mixed genre. Mixed genre. I'll tell you how to create a reality where narcissistic demons do not exist. Stop thinking about them in your own mind. As within, so without. You are keenly aware of the existence of narcissistic demons. You're clearly aware of their existence. So they have your attention. How do I know they have your attention? You just told me. So let's examine that for a moment. What is it that you really want? Remove your attention from the narcissistic demon. I know you are tired of these creatures. I'm tired of them too. However, if we persist in giving them space in our minds where we create from, we have to keep recreating them. I'm banging on the thing because I'm enunciating these words. So let me ask you this question here now, mixed genre. I want to call you mixed greens because you got a lot of life in you. What is it that you truly want? Do not think about them. What is it that you want? The answer is not a reality without narcissistic demons. That's not what you want. I want you to ponder that question. You ponder that question because we stopped on step 1 and step 2, and we explained how to get your desire and your body in correspondence. And then 3, you know, Neville Goddard says to you, state akin to sleep. SATs, S-A-T. State akin to sleep. What is he telling you there? He's using the law of gender. Yes, Cyber. He's using the law of gender. Why? How do you know? You have to come up with a what? A short scene. An image, a video, if you will, if you are keen at visualization. Or you can hear yourself being told what it is you want to hear, if you're auditory. Or you can feel it in your hands. You can smell it, right? So when you create this state akin to sleep, what are you doing? You're using the law of gender. You are projecting the image of what you are creating into the womb of your subconscious mind. And this is why, listen, some people are lucky. Some people are lucky, if you want to call it luck, to take one shot and they pregnant. Oh, some people need a little bit more time. So this is why he says, night after night as you fall asleep, self-impregnate. Gender. Get that image of what you are creating, project it. This is why he calls it the lullaby. When you hear what you want to hear, you see what you want to see, you smell and taste and touch what it is you want to create. And you do it as you fall asleep. Why? Because as you fall asleep, as the body, as the conscious mind is submerged, it projects. I was going to say it shoots. but I can't say that. It projects the image outward as it is receding into slumber. And then the subconscious mind comes up and goes, oh, gotcha. And it takes that image and it stays there with it. And it begins to put all the moving parts together. So every night you project that image of what you are creating into your subconscious mind, and she says, oh, gotcha. She catches it. She cradles it. She handles it with care because she loves you. She can't tell you what to give her. She'll just accept everything, right? So every night you do that until when you get up one of these days, because you're going to sleep and you're waking up, right? You get up and you encounter a situation that says, oh, because when you see it and hear it, you're like, oh, snap, that's what a coincidence. I was just thinking about that. That is step 3. Use the law of gender to project the image of what you are recreating, not what I tell you. Recognize that the desire is showing you what you want to create, not what you have to wait to receive. All right? That is step 3. Step 4. Repeat step 3 until you encounter your desire in the flesh. Easy as pie. Sure. Does that make sense? I forget the name of the person who asked the question. I should go back. Let me hold tight. I'm just got to get the name right of the person who asked that question. And that person's name is Benny Acosta. Hello, Benny. I trust that answered your question. Are there more questions? If there aren't any more questions, we're going to do it again. Because remember, tonight at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to feel our thoughts. I'm going to hit the bowl and we're going to feel our thoughts. It's a Tibetan bowl that we hit every time, and we feel our thoughts. If that is not in your time zone, like if that's morning for you, you're part of the replay gang. Yeah? So, Benny, I trust that answered your question. Are there more questions? Are there more questions, more elaboration required? I'm giving you some time to type. So I don't want to talk while you're typing because concentration. Okay, that was a moment of silence, as long as I could handle at least. There's 10 people in this space. Oh, hey, Bree. I'm just looking in the chat right now on my iPad so I can see you. Can our subconscious minds be programmed to work against our manifestations? Your manifestation, what you want to manifest, right? The desire of what you're creating, yes? Your body and the way it feels every time you say the thing you want to create, that's what's telling you is within your subconscious mind. So, the desire you want to create corresponds to the sensation in your body that is telling you where your subconscious mind is sitting about that thing. So it's showing you what you're programmed as already. That's its job. Remember, as within, so without. The thought is invisible to the naked eye, But the sensation that the thought generates in your body is telling you what's in the subconscious mind regarding that thought, the program you're holding. That's what it's doing. So, can your subconscious mind be programmed to work against our manifestations? It's not programmed for or against. It is simply programmed. And the way the body responds is telling you how it's been programmed. So when you see how it has been programmed, then you make the determination, is this for or against? Perception, right? It is the interpretation. If you look at the sensation in your body, you're like, well, that's contradictory. Well, then clearly the manifestation will be what the contradiction is, because that contradiction is telling you what is stored in your subconscious mind. There was another question that popped up there. Mixed genre. Oh, I'm glad that makes sense. Marjorie, Neville says if you know exactly what I am dwelling in, I can foretell. Is that the sensation, the mood? Yes. It is also the law of causation. How do we know? Because every cause has an effect, and every effect is cause. If you know the cause, you can predict the effect. So listen to what Neville said again. If you know exactly where you're dwelling, what your state of mind is, what your concept of self is, if you know what that is, well, of course, then you can predict what the outcome will be. That's what he meant when he said it. It is the law of causation. Does that make sense, beautiful Marjorie? Because that sensation or mood, understand, when you have the desired thing you're wanting to create, and your body says, oh, please, that's not gonna happen. That is too far-fetched. You're aiming for the stars. You're lucky if you get the 3 tops. Because you know how your body talks to you, right? When you hear that kind of, we call that word something, resistance. It's not resistance. It's telling you how you actually feel about what you think. It's telling you what you're programmed at. So that is the mood, because he says catch the mood, feel the sensation. But most of us are so disconnected from our bodies that we don't know what the body feels. We don't know. We're so used to walking around with shoulders up here, chest all tight, and we breathe like this. We're so used to doing that. We think it's normal. So when somebody says take a deep breath, you're like, what the hell is a deep breath? You're like, what do you mean it's a deep breath? But then when I say to you, does your body feel tight somewhere? Does it feel tense anywhere? That now causes you to really allow your body to speak to you. Listen, we go and pay these body talk therapists a lot of money so that she can tell you what your body's saying to you. Your body's calling, but I digress. All right, I'm coming, Cyber. Mixed genre. What law can be used to eliminate negative thoughts in our minds so we can visualize our desires without much mental resistance? Which law is that? The answer was in your question. Mentalism. Because what you're doing now, I'm going to read your question and weave it together for you. The law of mentalism is what you're going to use to eliminate. You're not eliminating. This is why words matter. You're not eliminating the negative thought. You are transmuting the energy of that thought into the thought you want to have. So that means if you so dumb, to transmute that, you say, oh, but I can always learn. And let's get it together. Dumb means you can't speak. You're mute. That's what that means. That's how you transmute. You are taking the energy from that negative perception of yourself, and you are going to move it from looking at the negative of yourself and put it on the what you would call positive. Because if you say there's a negative, then there has to be a positive. You want to go from to, sounds like polarity, right? But you're using mentalism because you're at the base of the thought. So if you say, oh, my butt's too big in these jeans, but then you turn around, you use the energy in a different way because you're going to use it to either condemn yourself or edify yourself. So how can you edify yourself? You edify yourself by turning around and you say, baby got back. Or you can say, I like big butts and I cannot lie. This is how you change you transmute from one direction to the other. Because all it is doing is moving the energy from where you are to where you want to be. Mental transmutation is what that is called. Okay, so okay, mixed genre. I'm glad that makes sense. If not, you just let me know. Hey, Anot. Marjorie, thank you. I'm glad that makes sense. So, Cyber says, could you explain surrender? I assume it's just intentionally walking as that person now. Surrender. You see, when we hear the word surrender, what's the image that comes to mind? Drop it in the chat. What is the image that comes to mind when I say to you, surrender? What is the image? I'll sip some water while you respond. Because this... You're waving the white flag. Surrender, now they're telling you, if you think about that, you think, oh, you're giving up. Because that's what we've been told that surrender means. But surrender is not necessarily a giving up of something. It is more of an acknowledgement. You're acknowledging something that you know. So, when you say surrender, it is, you have to come to the acknowledgement of, okay, here's what the law says. Surrender just means to, I'm trying to find the right words. Release. Or I want to say release the resistance, but I don't like that word either. Let's go back to law. To surrender is to allow correspondence to happen. You get the mind and the sensation in the body to match. If those two things match, well, then there is no resistance, there is no fight, there's nothing for you to relinquish. No control needs to be relinquished. You're using your control to simply look at the situation and say, all right, I think this way about the thing I'm creating, but I feel this way about the thing I'm creating. What can I do to move that energy from here so it matches here? You keep changing the thought until the sensation in the body matches. That's why I gave... Cyber, does that answer your question? Right. Mixed genre. That's what it means. It means to give in or to submit. Yes. But are you giving in? What are you giving in to? What are you submitting to? You are acknowledging the way the law works and aligning yourself with that. So to submit or to give in means defeat. If you think about the true context of the word of surrender that we see all around us, you're waving the white flag, I give up, I give up, I give up. But you're not actually giving up by way of law. You are acknowledging the way the law works and aligning with it. That, by way of law, is what surrender means. Acknowledging and aligning. Because now what it's saying here, I mean, you could say, oh, well, Angela, that's the same thing. You splitting hairs. You could say it's the same thing, but it is far simpler to perform the task if you don't feel like, oh, fine, I gotta give up and leave this alone. It's never gonna happen. And you throw in the towel. That's admitting defeat. The law does not beat you down into submission. It entices you to align with it. Acknowledge the law and align yourself with it, and thereby you're never defeated. Because surrender means admitting defeat. You submit to an authority that is bigger than you. But Angela, isn't the law bigger than me? Well, sure it is. But it does not traipse around telling you that it is. The law doesn't say, well, I'm bigger than you. You do what I say. No, it doesn't tell you that. It says, I govern all of creation. Everything flows by way of law. Align yourself and your situations will be manageable. That's what well, if you want the big stick, but I'm sure the law can accommodate. Right? The other question, so does that make sense about surrender? Like more clarity regarding surrender? Because if you hear, listen, you hear the word submit. That's a big word in the black community at this moment. Black women don't know how to submit. How does it make you feel in your body when you hear that you have to submit? It makes you want to fight a little more, don't it? But the law says, acknowledge what I govern and align yourself with it for your own benefit. You don't have to give up who and what you are and die to it. Align with the law and be the best that you can be. That is my interpretation by way of law of the word surrender. Mixed genre. Can we still manifest whatever we want without having a desire for it? Well, this is a good question. So let me ask you this question, mixed genre. How do you know you want to create something? Or how do you know what you want to create? The desire is the cause. The effect is the manifestation. Cause and effect. So, for you to have a manifestation, you have to have a desire. Causation. Make sense? Next sentence, yes, sovereign. Yeah, you are sovereign, indeed, right? Does that make sense? Oh, I just got a text. Sorry. It just flashed up there. But why? My phone is in do not disturb. Does that make sense to us today? Are there any more questions? I'm just waiting for the questions. There. Yes, Nexodus, fundamentally we are sovereign. Because let's use the law of correspondence here. The all is sovereign. It moves itself. It thinks of its own and acts of its own volition, as above. So below, that means we do the same. As above, so below. So we are meant to be sovereign. If you think about it, all over the world, and some places still have monarchies at the moment, someone to rule over them. But that is out of balance, you understand. It's out of balance. Even in the Bible, it says, go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways and be wise, having no ruler or chief officer. Who? The ant has no ruler or chief officer, but it works according to what? Rhythm. If you look at ants, they work according to rhythm. They are not governed by, they have a queen. What does the queen do? She doesn't rule them. She is bred to do what? Carry on the line. She plays her role. Same for bees. And when that role has been diminished to a point where it's going to harm the hive, they eject her or she dies. But ants and bees and all other things are ruled and governed by way of rhythm. All the laws, if you hear what I'm saying, they're governed by all the laws, but predominantly you see it by way of rhythm. Because in the spring and summer, you see the ants. Beautiful question. Let's see. Mixed genre. I have heard that it takes 21 days to reprogram the subconscious mind. Is there a faster method to reprogram the subconscious mind by way of law? Vibration. So the vibration, because there's two ways to program the subconscious mind. By way of a habit, which is the 21 days, or a very strong vibrational emotion that leaves an instant impact. For instance, if you were chased on by a pit bull chomping at your heels, what did you learn from, how did you program your subconscious mind right there and then with that highly charged emotional experience? You're now afraid of dogs. Those are the two ways to program the subconscious mind. This is why if you get a hold of the feelings, the mood, the sensation in your body, you can use that emotion like nitrous oxide for all you rally car drivers out there, right? Nitrous oxide to get a boost. Why? Because emotions are pure, raw energy. If harnessed correctly, they bring about a beautiful thing. But if you let them run amok, well, we end up with what we got now, chaos. But it's not that the emotion is good or bad. It is that, how does the emotion behave in the hands of the person? See, it is always you, it is always I, or me. I'm glad that makes sense, mixed genre. So by way of law, it is vibration. Because for the vibration to happen, yes, you feel it. It's a very highly emotionally charged, it's like the first day you ever got an ass whooping. You always remember when you got that ass whooping, right? You always remember because it was so emotionally charged. Here's what it is. It left an impression on you. Do you hear it? It left an impression on you. Where on you? Not just the welts on your booty, but on your subconscious mind. You hear what I'm saying? It leaves an impression. That's how you... Words matter. Exodus. So yeah, does that make sense? Because I got this question maybe like, I don't know, 3 hours. And I said, ooh, I could respond in a text, underneath. But I thought, no, let me just, because chances are there's more than one person with that. Whew, I'm hot. Lord.
Stand in front of the window.
I don't need to be in the window. You good. Yes, it is open. The breeze is coming in because the wind is out there. I think it's going to rain for us soon. Yeah. But are there any more questions regarding this? Because I'm going to go over those steps one more time before we go, because I don't want to keep you longer, because tonight at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will hit the bowl and feel our thoughts. Oh, look, there aren't any more questions? Then let us recap. The question was, what's the ingredient to get what you want, to get your desire instead of getting the opposite of it? Remember, you only ever get what you are, as within, so without. This is the law of correspondence, right? Step one. What is it that you want to create? Because remember, you don't want it. You want to create it. The minute you say, I want it, and leave it there, that means you're waiting for someone or something to give it to you. Which means you've just given away your power. So, recognize that the desire is showing you what you want to create, not what you have to wait to receive. Yes? That's what it is. Step one, know what it is that you want to create. Because it usually is accompanied by, that thought is accompanied by an image. This is why we have vision boards. That thought is accompanied by an image. And that is the image. that you hold on to. And then step 2, when you're holding on to that image, it's going to make your body feel one of 2 ways. In accordance or correspondence, it aligns, it's yay, or your body's like, please, that's not true. You don't believe that, which is showing you clearly what your subconscious mind is already impregnated with. So now your task is to get the mind, which is that image, and the sensation in your body to align. Well, how do you do that? You start telling yourself the truth. You start to look for all the good things. Why would you want to do this? Because when you start to tell your body the good things, it begins to relax because it agrees. It agrees with you. It says, tell me more, big boy. That's what it says, right? So you start to tell it the truth. You start to list all the things you're good at because you know what it is you're creating. You say, I am here. Here's where I want to be. From, to. And so now you start to list all the things that you can do because you're really good at them to move yourself from here to here. And your body's like, well, yeah, I can do that. Look at how long we've been doing that thing. Let's do more of that. And that space in between there now becomes the bridge of incidents. That bridge now, because you are focused to where you want to be, now that you're focused to where you want to be, what happens? All of these things become, oh my God, what a coincidence, start to unfold. And you're like, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world. You're not lucky. You're just pointing in the direction that you say you want to be in. And because you are in accordance with the direction you want to be in, then all things must unfold to point you in that direction. Because if you say, oh, I'm still over here, all the things that match over there, where you're trying to move from, must confirm where you are. Because you must always be in correspondence, good, bad, or indifferent. So that's what you're getting your body to do. You're getting your body to agree with you. And the only way to know that your body agrees with you is because of the way it feels. Right? That is the law of vibration. Exodus, frequency? Yes, the vibration is the frequency. You can't see it, but you can feel it. Well, for those who can see auras, they can see the vibration. Right? But we have 5 senses by which to interpret vibration. So that is step 1 and step 2. Step 3, now we will employ the law of gender. Once you are in accordance, once thought, which is the image that you are creating, the image that you are recreating, right? Once that image and the sensation in your body match, go on to step 3. Do not leave step 2 if the image and the sensation in your body are not aligned. Because what are you going to get? The opposite, which means the way your body feels about it, the way your body is telling you that it feels is what you truly believe, and you recreate what's on the inside. So there are different hacks you can use, but we do them anyway, which is step 3. Step 3 is the state akin to sleep. Neville Goddard, right? But it is the law of gender. You have the image of the thing you are recreating, right? Like the artist who is at the easel and he tells you, stand still, stop fidgeting. Why? The image must be held still so that it can be recreated. That's what you're doing when you hold the image. You're not just doing it for shits and giggles. You're holding the image so it can be recreated. All the necessary components are coming together for you when you hold it there. You're part of the replay gang. Anywho, so the law of gender now, as you are falling asleep, Neville Goddard says you can play it like a lullaby. You can hold the image and you can hear what you want to hear. You can taste, like the woman with the roses. She wanted roses. So she began to smell the petals of the red roses. So when she went back to her hotel room at the Waldorf Astoria, the queen had just left. And the concierge was like, well, we have all of these roses. We don't know what to do with them. Would you like them? And she's like, why, yes, sir, darling. You can send them up to my room. And all she did was what? She used her sense of smell. Yes? Olfactory. She used her sense of smell to impress upon her subconscious mind roses. She didn't want roses. She wanted to recreate the experience of having roses. So she impressed upon her subconscious mind using her sense of olfactory, smell. And she impressed it upon her subconscious mind, and she got roses. She didn't get a little bit of roses. It was the queen, after all, who had the roses previously. So you know there was a shit ton of roses. And so look at the abundance that she got. So then you are going to sleep, that state akin to sleep, and you're using your law of gender. Remember, the masculine, that is the image of the thing you're recreating. And you now begin to project it. You thrust it outward into the what? The waiting womb of your subconscious mind. And she says, oh, why, yes, thank you for your generosity. And she takes it. Now, like the woman who used her sense of smell, because mixed genre, I'm coming back to your question, is there a faster way? She used that sense of smell. It's the sense of smell, they tell you, is the most powerful sense, right? Because it's right to the brain. It has an impression. It leaves an impression. Hear it. It imprints itself right away because it's the proximity to the brain, you understand. This is why it's the most powerful. So because she used that was, I would venture to guess, that was her strongest sense. Some of us are better at hearing than we are at smelling. But the good news is, with practice, you can develop all of them. Step 4, repeat step 3. Fall asleep every night. And every time, you see, there's a knowing that comes when step 1 and 2 have been completed. When the thought or the image in your mind matches the sensation in your body, you no longer have to hope and wish and pray for it to happen, right? Because remember Neville Goddard talks about the Sabbath? And when you get that sweet spot, you don't need to do it anymore. Well, that's what he's talking about. He's talking about the correspondence between thought and sensation in the body that align. That's how you know. So when you have the thought and the corresponding sensation in your body and they match and you know it now, you don't have to wait for it. It's happening now in your body. So because it's happening now, you don't have to pretend. It is happening now. If I say to you, oh my God, and if you grew up in the Caribbean and you ever walked by a mango tree in season, oh, or a passion fruit vine, oh, if you ever walk by any of those things, just the thought of it. If you sit down and you think the sense of smell is just, you're like, what? And all of a sudden you go out and mangoes are on sale. Oh my God, what a coincidence. No, the impression of that memory. So because the thought and the sensation match, that's how you know you've got the Sabbath, because it feels complete. That's why it feels like the Sabbath. I saw a question. Brian McKnight time. Which gate is your favorite to use? Explain. Cyber, I don't understand. Brian McKnight time. Hi, Cynthia. I see you, honey. I see you. Mixed genre. What baffles me is why all the power was given to the subconscious mind and barely any given to the conscious mind. Should have been 50-50 and it would be fair, and we wouldn't be wasting time visualizing. Yes, I understand what you're saying. Yes, I understand what you're saying. The conscious mind, I just want to put them in their right spots. So the body comes with pre-inserted programs, okay? The body comes with pre-inserted programs, pardon me, that are geared towards your survival. That's what they're for. So it has right? The brain, it has, and the body, they have to remember these things based upon survival. Because that rules everything else. If you don't survive, what good are you consciously? The body must survive because we're in it. And so for the subconscious mind to rule such a large percentage stands to reason why survival is key. Think about this for a minute. We walk around and when we're stressed out, we hold our breath. Aren't you glad that that's an autonomic function and you don't have to think about it? Why? Your survival. Look at your heartbeat, your blood pressure, your hormone, all of those things, right? If we had to control those things, we'd be dead. We'd be dead. You feel me? Like it's, so that's why based, the level that is required for survival far outweighs. So the driver of your form, your body, which is who you really are, because you're in it, right? Without the body, it can't be here. The body needs it to drive it. Mutually beneficial. Make sense? Yeah? Neville refers to the different senses as gates. Oh, this is true. I remember reading that. Well, it just depends. It depends on how you started out in the world. Listen, I alluded this morning to my theory. It's not a hypothesis because I cannot test it. But I presume the evidence is before me. Let me tell you, what if your mother was pregnant with you? Well, we know she was, but I'm going to find you somewhere in the trees. What if during that pregnancy, right, her life was in danger? You see that fetus that's in there? The fetus registers the danger. Remember, the body has been designed to survive, right? This is my theory. The body has been designed to survive. So whatever the mother is feeling, the fetus has to partake of that feeling hormonally because literally speaking, that fetus is attached to you. So if you started out in life with your very existence being threatened, well, then your sense of ESP, your sense of intuition is highly developed. Why? Because your survival depends upon it. And so if you ended up in a situation like that where your survival was threatened, right? While in utero, your mother registered those hormones first. You felt them. So they left an impression where? On the developing body. So because they left that impression there, now that you are outside of the womb, your body has been primed not just to survive, but it has been heightened. We'll touch that in a minute, Cyber. I'm just seeing it. So your response has been heightened for survival. So you can, not only can you spot it from a mile away, but you can feel it when it's coming. You can feel the rhythm. You can feel the ebb. You can feel the ebb between life and death. You can feel it when it moves. So that person's gait is going to be tactile, the sense of touch, but also ESP, extrasensory perception. They just have a way of clear cognizance, knowing, clairsentience, is that what it is? A sense of all-knowing? It appears like a sense of all-knowing, but what it is truly survival. And they have the ability to sense the undercurrent. Because look at how they started out. Mine clearly was talking. I was always spoken to because I could not read at such a young age. Well, I started school at 4.5, but I was already leading worship by 3. So that means being able to memorize scripture, memorize the hymns. I had to know certain things. How did I learn them? Because my grandmother sang them to me. So my ear is hypersensitive. I can hear. And so my gate would be my ear. But also, I had to understand or comprehend what was being said in the scripture from a very young age. Because memory, and then smells like rain. So memory is hyper developed. People have always remarked on that. How do you remember these things? So I'm like, ah. But that's why I developed that. It just came to me this morning, actually, as I was sitting on the bed. And that's why I say to you, it's a theory based upon, but you know, the funny thing is we call them gifts because we think they've been given to us. When in actuality, they were part of the environment that we had to adapt to. So however, and the reason why I'm leaning towards believing it is because if you have a child in a neglectful environment, how do they respond? So clearly the environment has something to do with it. So if you were in an environment where you always had to fear for your life even before you were born, when you come out, you are hypersensitive and you know the feeling of impending death or not. So the yes, Nexodus, so to be underdeveloped, right, means something wasn't, a part of you was not stimulated, a part of you. But the other senses have to compensate for that one, right? That's just my theory. I have a friend who can't imagine visually whatsoever. He has to use hearing. But yes and no. Yes and no. Cyber, yes and no. Because I don't always and here's the thing. I'll tell you right now why I say yes and no. If you said to me, close your eyes right now, Angela, and envision your mango tree fully engorged and endowed with ripe, fresh, warm, sun-kissed mangoes, the reds and the yellows on the sun-kissed skin of that mango. Please, that is nothing for me. I can't see that shit. But, if I say, I'm going to this particular place, if I say, well, I've been to this particular place, if I say, I've been to this particular place, the image pops up into my head right away, and I know exactly where I'm going, and I know exactly what route to take to get there. You can visualize when required, as opposed to on command. It's the hearing that triggers. It's the hearing that triggers the image. At the end of the day, right? At the end of the day, it's always going to be an image because that is how mentally we create. The universe is a mental creation. The all is mind. So it doesn't matter. If you smell roses, you're going to see the image of roses. But if your strength is smell, you're going to smell the rose first before you see it. So you see, you go through the gate that is strongest first, and that gateway will trigger the image to appear. So visualization is possible because this is how the mind works. Cyber, I know he's capable of it because he dreams at night. Is that not the exact same faculty of the brain? That is a question I can't answer. Where that dreams and dreams, you are recalling information that has happened to you, or for some people they're spoken to in their dreams, so they're given those images. But either way, cyber, yes, they are the same faculty. You know why? Because the universe is a mental creation. The all is mind, and we create by way of pictures. Pictures. We create by way of picture. So if you can dream, you can visualize. Yes, I thought I couldn't answer that question, but here we are by way of law. The law is amazing, isn't it? Bree, it's like I have to admit that I want more, and that what I have isn't enough, and that feels ungrateful. But Bree, honey, feeling ungrateful is from the outside of you. You're designed to want more. How do I know that we're designed to want more and better? How many universes are there? Not one, but many. Every time they turn around, they tell us the galaxy is expanding. This is expanding. That is expanding. That is the desire for more. Right? We create because that's where we're coming from. More, 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 more. So feeling ungrateful, right, is something that was said to you. Why you never satisfied with what you got? Can't you just be content? That's not you. That is counter. The universe is always expanding, then so must you. As above, so below. You're not being ungrateful because you want more. Listen, I want more knowledge. I should be ungrateful for that. Right? So being ungrateful comes from the outside. That is somebody else's perception, because why are they doing that? Look at the law of correspondence. They're doing it because within themselves, if they feel, oh my God, I really want that, but I have enough, so I shouldn't ask for more. Because they think they're asking for something. So they now project their influence, project their perceptions of, well, you should be content. That's one of the first things they teach you in Christianity. Be content with what you got. Be content with little. Pay your bills with little. You can't. You know how many people can't feed their families and they're going to feed food banks? So no, today, Bree, we end the ungrateful thought. You're not being ungrateful. You are designed to want more. Because it means there's growth happening. You understand? Stagnation makes us shrink. You can't get more if you're stagnant. But if you're growing and expanding, you have to have more to accommodate the growth. I digress. Bree, does that answer your question? Or it wasn't even a question? Uh-oh. Where's the first part of your comment? Bree. Okay, I feel like I'm so content with my life that I don't manifest things. But that's not true. You're always manifesting. Just so you know. You are here. You cannot not manifest. Cause and effect. You are manifesting. But yeah, I just went off on a whole new tyrant. Bree. Cynthia, how do you manifest things such as money when you hear that a crash is going to happen, etc.? I love this question because it hits home for everybody. Unless, of course, you're Bill Gates. How do you manifest money? We manifest money, right, by using the gifts we have. Yeah, but Angela, money's going digital. I know, money's going digital. But you see, the problem is when you start to hear, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. When you start to hear that, what's the first thing that happens in your body? Think about it right now. What's the first thing that happens in your body? What am I gonna do? Fear. Fear. Remember what I said to you before, there's two ways to impress the subconscious mind. A strong emotional experience or by repetition. Fear is a very, very strong emotion and it leaves an impression. Why is that impression important? The impression is important because from fear, you must recreate it. You understand? So if now you hear there's scarcity and you fall prey to the fear of scarcity, what will you recreate? Scarcity. So how do we combat that? We combat that by reminding ourselves that the law is abundance itself. The law says to you, as within, so without. So now we start with the question, okay, what can I do? What can I do so that I can prepare myself? Because now we've got to be able to recognize rhythm. You got to be able to feel when the ebb pulls back so that it's gathering its momentum to thrust you forward. You've got to be able to feel that. And in order to feel that, you've got to spend some time in quiet. And you look at polarity and you say, okay, look, we know there's a shitstorm coming. But I'm not governed by that. I'm governed by law. And right now I'm here. I'm insecure. I want security. What can I do to get myself towards security? Well, if cash is going away, what other forms of currency can be used besides digital currency? That's one question to answer. But I don't have enough to buy gold. You can't spend gold unless you have gold coins. Right? Do they sell gold coins? I know they sell the bars, but silver. Start to do things. For instance, if you know you're going to expire, like we all know, and you want the best for your children after you're gone, get a will in place. Do the things that bring security. Do those things by way of law that take you from being insecure to secure. So if that means, okay, I've got this much money, I want to have something cold, hard, liquid that I can use to trade things if I need to. What do I have? You start to look at those aspects, right? Because when you start to look there, based upon what you've got going on, right? You're taking action. And the action is not coming from a place of fear. The action is coming from, oh, I see what's happening. They're telling me there's scarcity, but you know what? I think I know better. Why do you know better? Because the law tells me better. So you do what you can with step one. Your thoughts around scarcity. Because you're now in a place where you're going to have to allow your body now to believe, because it's telling you, no, I don't believe you. Scarcity is coming. That's what I know. I got to survive. That's where your body is right now, fight or flight. So the thought of scarcity, how do you banish that thought? Look around you and see where you can confirm abundance and show it to your body and say, here, see, there's abundance here. There's abundance over there. There's abundance over there. There's abundance over there. Where else can I see abundance? You know what? I have all these skills. Your body now in step two begins to do what? It begins to corroborate what you're saying. See that word C-O-R? Corroborate? Correspondence? That's what you do to manifest money. Use the skills you have, but you have got to get number one and number two together. The way you think about money and the way it feels in your body, you've got to get those two things aligned. So you look for where abundance is. Look for it. When you look for it from insecurity to security, you start to see and you start to get ideas. And then people say, hey, you know what I heard? And you start to get all these little things in place. And what happens? Now, once you get step 1 and 2 in correspondence, as you are falling asleep at night, whatever state or sense you use, whatever gate you use, that is what you project over and over as you fall asleep. That feeling in your body of security, because it's there. Once you get step 1 and 2 together, the feeling of security is there. And all the things that now come along across that bridge of incidents will help you to remain secure about money. Does that make sense? But I agree. Yeah, I've never wanted for anything because I feel like I have it all, but I can want more. Yeah, Bree. Oh my God, your TikTok is so cute. Nexodus, stand on principle. Indeed, stand on principle. Whew. Oh, I need to respond to that. Anywho, my beautiful darlings, It seems like there's no more questions. So if there aren't any more questions, because I'm going to return that phone call from that. Yes, but that's it. Being. You're being. That's what you're creating in your life. You're not waiting for someone to make you prosperous. You must be it. As within, so without. So the image of prosperity is what you are recreating in your exterior world. Yeah. So there. Does that make sense, everybody? You're welcome, Bree. You are so welcome. If there are more questions, let me know. But I got to return 2 calls. This was an impromptu thing just to answer his question. And so, Cynthia, yes. Step 1, what do you want to create? Step 2, is what you want to create matching the sensation in your body? No, take the time to make it match. 3, once they match, use the law of gender to project that desired creation. Right? And step 4, repeat step 3. Alrighty, y'all. I love you. Listen, pop into my LINKTREE, mixed genre. Pop into my LINKTREE under the description, and you can send me an email if you need to. And we're here. I'll see you at 9:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we will hit the bowl and feel our thoughts. I love you all.